Hey, this is Malachi Church versus State. You know, something really important happened yesterday. And it goes with what I've been saying for a while now. And I made two very important videos, I feel very important videos, in regards to this subject. And that is this. Trumpets gone. It fell out. Utah earthquake damages Mormon temple and knocks the trumpet from iconic angel statue. Notice it just fell right out perfectly. Right? Here's what it was before. Right there. Now, I wrote a blog a year ago, almost a year ago, March 22nd will be an actual year. But I wrote a blog about a fig tree that fell in LA, Hollywood. It was 144 years old. It was one of 4 fig trees that was planted. I did a video stating that the 4 fig trees are a representation of the angels, right? And 144 years from which it was planted to which it fell over is an aspect of the 144,000 marking God's elect. Right? It happened in Hollywood. Hollywood has an association with Jews, or the Jewish people. Israel is also an aspect of the Jewish people. The parable of the fig tree, it says, this generation shall not pass. People say, well, that was because of the creation of Israel that took place. But then people say, yeah, but Israel's run by Jews, people that call themselves of the tribe of Judah who are not. And some are, but they're just from the Genesis 38. I'll just say that. Read Genesis 38, you'll know what I'm talking about. Right? And so the parable of the fig tree still applies, whether you want to believe it or not. It applies. And it might be a good idea to read that. But I want to show you where this trumpet applies, because along with my video of the parable of the fig tree, which go to my blog, which is right under it, and it's called, I will tag it in here underneath, so read my blog on this. And then also understand this trumpet thing. But with the fig tree falling last year on March 22nd, right, being 144 years old in Hollywood, both representing the same aspect of both Israel and Hollywood and all these things. And then the fact that the statue of King David fell a couple weeks ago, I think on the 7th, right? And King David was the first king from the tribe of Judah over the children of Israel. This was after 40 years of King Saul, but he was of the tribe of Levi, because Levites were the priests, so he became the first king. Then there became King David, and then David's son Solomon. There were only 3 kings that served over the children of Israel. And those were Saul, David, and Solomon. Right? And the last one was supposed to be the wisest of them all. But anyways, after that, after 140 years, there were 40 years each, 40 being probation, 40 years each. Then they split. One was the kingdom of Israel. The other was the kingdom of Judah. And Judah also had Benjamin within them. But I want to read you something very important before I forget. And that is, oops, I just lost it. Where did I have it? I have to go to Matthew 23. Matthew 23. Is it Matthew 23? Matthew 24, excuse me. Matthew 24, verse 31. And in my video, and in what I'll tell you, briefly explain to you right now, I was saying that there's certain things that have to happen in a certain sequential order next, and that's a marking of his 144,000. But prior to that, there's a whole issue where you have a whole in Revelation 6, where the leaders hide themselves in the hills and in the mountains and ask the mountains to fall upon them, which is what we're seeing now. A lot of them quarantining themselves. But why do I say the parable of the fig tree is important? And why do I say the statue of David falling in LA is important? And why am I saying that this is one of the most important ones of them all? That trumpet coming out. Because I'm going to read it to you. Matthew 24:31. And this is Jesus speaking. All right, he's talking about the tribulation here, but you can read 29 and 30, which would probably be good, but I want you to read that on your own. So go read that, please. But read this one with me. It's 31. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. And then he says, learn the parable of the fig tree. This is Jesus talking. Now, he said, now learn the parable of the fig tree, for when its branches already become tender and puts forth leaves, you know that summer is near. What is today? We're in March. What is March? It's springtime. Summer is near. Summer is near. Right? So you also, when you see these things, know that it is near, at the door. Right? Assuredly, I say to you, this generation by no means will pass away till all these things take place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my word will by no means pass away. Okay? Now, if you read Matthew 24, you're going to read a lot of the same things that it's talking about in Revelation 7. But here's another aspect of a fig tree, and this is why I say that things are going to happen now versus last year. And I really think that things are really going to heat up next year because if you read my other blog, 666 Rise of the Antichrist, you'll see how I foretold you these things way back in 2015, that you would see the queen, you'd see a lot of things happening with the queen. And what's happening with the queen right now? I said that she would hand over her crown in 2021. Or basically Prince Williams would be in power in 2021. So this year, she'll either hand it over to Prince Charles and he will take control the first of next year, or this year, but Williams will be in there by next year is what I was trying to say. Okay? And that was in 2015. I wrote that blog, so you might want to check that one out because, hey, it's happening. Wow. Some things are happening just as God told me that they would happen. I also said that Trump would be the martyr of the financial collapse. And I said that before he was even in office. However, I thought they were going to take him out prior to being elected, but I think God had other plans. But the reason why I say things are happening and are going to happen now is because of this other kind of speaking of the parable of the fig tree, right? It's from Luke 13. Luke 13:5. I tell you, no, but unless you repent, you will likewise perish. Luke 13:6. He also spoke this parable. A certain man had a fig tree planted in his vineyard, and it came seeking fruit on it and found none. Then he said to the keeper of the vineyard, look, for 3 years I've come seeking fruit on this tree, and I find none. Cut it down, because why does it use up the ground? Meaning it's a waste of space. But the grower answered, but he answered and said to him, Sir, let it alone this year also until I dig around it and fertilize it. And if it bears fruit, we'll keep it. If it doesn't, then we'll cut it down. So the fig tree in Hollywood fell last year on March 22nd. It's been a year later. Now I can tell you this. It's been very interesting how there's been certain smut, which is the dung around the tree there. That we have a lot of these pedophiles and the Harvey Weinsteins and all this stuff that are being locked up, and I mentioned that in my thing. But I think it's too late for any of them. Then that's why the statue of King David fell, because he's basically saying it's too late, And so I think we're going to see a lot of things happening. Like I said, still watch for somebody dying on live TV. I still believe that's going to happen. It could happen like real soon. Watch for March 22nd. Don't get caught up with this. One side they say, "Oh, Trump's doing this intentionally to, do all these other things, like he's arresting all these people and doing all this kind of stuff, and whatever." I don't know. I don't follow that. If he is, that's great. But I can say this. Well, I don't know. Here's the thing with me. I would love to have a leader that would actually serve God. I mean, just unapologetically serve our Father in heaven. And lead our nation as God intended, which was in reality not to have a ruler over us or a king over us. And yes, if he's arresting all these people, if he's bankrupting, this is what I've said. I've said we were crossing the Red Sea. The sea's going to crash on all of the old Pharaoh's army. It could be the tide that wipes out everything. I don't know, wipes out all the financial stuff. Because if you really think about it, the only time that Jesus got upset is when they were changing money in the temple. That's because they allowed that money, that influence, that aspect of usury fees and a form of slavery via tax debt, via money, right? So when Jesus saw that was infiltrated into the temple, he got pissed. He started whipping some people and started turning some tables, because he didn't want what the world does to people to enslave them to be in the church. Because to have people that are basically indoctrinating people into their form of belief, as far as in their form of how you should be, that's a form of enslavement. Actually, to be honest with you, since the Bible was written, and don't take this wrong, but when it became a written word and not something that was handed down and written on your heart, it became easier to rule and dominate over people at the pulpit. And it became a rule and domination through words versus the money, but now it's both words and money. You get what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I just see things. My name is Malachi. What do you expect? I'm a messenger. I'm just bringing you messages, telling you the things to come. I think I'm the most accurate prophetic but non-prophet guy on YouTube, period, end of story. Find me one that's been more. I have had people say, "Oh, the Kim Clement guy, he made some prophecies," and I've listened to him, and he made some prophecy about, I think even Billy Graham, and I listened to it. But then I go, well, I made the same prophecy, okay, so there's a witness to it, but I gave you the date. Now, I was 4 years ahead, but I gave you the date, meaning after Super Bowl, before Winter Olympics. That only happens every 4 years. And if I was betting in Las Vegas, I'd be a rich man. I also gave you the number in which the financial collapse would happen, 72,000. What are we at now? 72,500. And if you go back, you know when it started. It all really started to take place as soon as we hit 72,000. Not too many people on YouTube. I guess I must be extremely... I think my thing's getting full or something like that. Anyways, hug your kids, call your parents, go see your neighbor, repent and be baptized. And I mean, too bad Vegas is closed down, because I would start making some good bets. I'd be a very rich man. I could be the richest man in the world. I've been pretty right on many times. So for those richest people in the world, you need to get a hold of me and give me some of that cash, because I got things to do. Hug your kids, call your parents, go see your neighbor, repent and be baptized. Bye.
My people are slaves. 430 years have gone. Still they seem to carry on the ways that made them slave. My people are slaves. I sent Moses to free the land, to take them from Pharaoh's hand, but they run right back as slaves. My people are slaves. I bring them freedom they don't understand. They need laws to comprehend, to make them back as slaves. My people are slaves. My people are slaves, going back to what they've known, to worship gods without a throne in the kingdom I have made. My people are slaves, knowing to the love I give, the freedom that comes within. So that's eternal flame. My people are slaves. My people are slaves. They don't understand the love I give, the freedom that comes within, taking hold of the name.